Hi everybody, welcome to the Changing Oceans program video support series. This is video number 5, and what we're going to do today is we're going to do some statistical evaluation on the size of jingle clams between two different marine sites. So without further ado, we shall get into it. Now you can see our worksheet here on Excel is getting a little bit cluttered. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut the information I need from this worksheet, and we're going to create a new worksheet. So in order to create the worksheet, what I'd like you to do is to go to the bottom of the screen on that bottom bar. You can see we've got sheet 1. That's the sheet that we can see at the moment. We're going to put a new sheet together. So let's see that plus sign. If you place your cursor over that plus sign and then give it a click, there we go. We have, sheet number 3. I don't know what happened to sheet number 2, but there you go. So what we're going to do now, we need to put the data that we're going to work with onto sheet number 3. So if we click back to sheet 1 and select the data that we would like to work with, in this case it's the jingle clam size. So we'll gather all of that data. And there's a lot of it. There's a tremendous amount of counting went on with this one. Okay, there we go. All right, now I'm going to right click on those selected cells, bring down the menu. I'm going to cut, so we're going to remove this completely. And then we're going to go to sheet number 3, and we're going to paste this information on sheet 3. So again, right click, and then we're just going to paste the information in there. Okay, now we'll just rearrange the columns a little bit so we can see the titles. There we go. And again, expand those columns. Perfect. Okay, now what we're going to do then, let's start from the beginning with this one. I would like us, please, to produce some summary statistics. So the way we're going to do that, we know that we've got our data analysis toolpack on our program. So let's go up to data in the top bar. We'll click on there, and then remember over to the right hand side you'll see the icon for the data analysis toolpack. We'll click onto that, and there is our drop down menu. So we've got descriptive statistics. This is what we're going to run. Okay, so we'll bring that box up. So we'll just click OK. Now our input range for this one, we are going to select Wavebreak Island. So we're going to, remember, in the same way as we did in the other videos, we're going to also select the title. That we just don't have to edit it later on, that's all. So we're going to select Wavebreak Island, and we're going to drag all the way to the bottom of these numerical values. There we go. Okay, and we've selected our input range. Okay, now it's grouped, obviously it's a column, that's right, but remember this box here where it says labels in the first row, we need to check that because the first row is indeed a label and it says Wavebreak Island. So we might have to make sure that that one's checked. All right, so now we need to stipulate where we're going to place this statistical analysis. So our output range, we'll check on that box. And what we'll do, remember, make sure the cursor is flashing in the window there. So let's just click on there. All right, now where should we put it? Let's put it up here. Okay, so we'll put it into E3. So our output range, when we check box E3, should come up. Perfect. And of course, we are running summary statistics, so make sure that that box is also checked. All right, and we'll OK that. Perfect. Well, those are our summary statistics for Wavebreak Island. Now remember, this is for jingle clam size. So the mean size of jingle clams at Wavebreak Island would appear to be 2.55. We are now going to do exactly the same process for Kerang Cove. Okay, so yet again, let's check our data analysis. We're running some descriptive statistics. You guys should be flying through this now. And so we'll OK that one. And now what we'll do, we'll have to get rid of the details that are in the input range now, because this is a carryover from the previous set of figures that we ran. So we'll delete those. So our input range is now going to be Karankove. We'll include the label. So click on Karankove, drag down past on the numerical values down to the last one at 2.4. That is our input range. It's grouped in columns. We've ticked the labels in first row box, very important. Now we want to place it. What we're going to do is we're going to place it next to the Wavebreak Island summary statistics. Okay, so again, we make sure the cursor's flashing in our output range box, but we're going to delete that information. Okay, the summary statistics, we're going to place it into G3. Okay, so this is our output range. And this should, when we OK, this should place the summary statistics for Karankove directly next to Wavebreak Island. All right, so again, we'll expand that column just so we can get all of the information in there. We went a bit too far. There we go. All right, so the mean size of Jingle Clam, okay, at Karankove is 1.66 centimetres. So there would appear to be quite a significant difference in size. So what we'll do next is we will produce a column chart with regard to our means. Now, remember, even though we've placed our boxes next to each other, you can see that we've actually got a repetition of the titles for the values, and we don't need that. So let's get rid of this information. So we'll highlight it, we'll right click, and we will delete. Now ask us to shift the cells to the left. Perfect. Okay, so that way all of the information, numerical values, will slide over. So we'll still have a title of Karankove. These are the Karankove values. These are the Wavebreak Island values. Now, because we've arranged it like this, it makes it a lot easier to actually create our column chart. So what I'd like you to do now is to select your mean values. So we select the mean value for Wavebreak Island and run that across to the mean value for Karankove Marina. Now what we need to do is we need to go up to that top banner, run along there until we see insert. All right, so we'll click on insert. That will bring us up our menu. And remember, in the same way as we did in, I think it was number 3 video, we're going to select our column charts. So we'll click on our column charts. The drop-down menu has given us all sorts of wonderful creations. We're going to stick to a nice and basic 2D column chart where the data is displayed next to each other. So we'll check on that box there. Okay, and here we have our column charts representing, this now represents the mean size of Jingle Clams at Site 1, which is Wavebreak Island, and Site 2, which is Karankove. Now, again, we can change the titles, we can change these labels and the axis labels. I will leave that for you to do in your own time, otherwise this will be a very long video. All right, so what we need to do next, though, remember, we need to make sure that we've got our error bars in position. Our error bars are really important. Why? It gives us a graphical representation on whether the data collected at Wavebreak Island is different enough to the data collected at Karankove. So in order to put the error bars in there, what we do is we move over to this plus box, okay? So you click on there, and this will then give you a drop-down menu of chart elements, and we want to put in our error bars. Now, if we select the error bars, we get a generic error bar that sort of dropped on there. We don't want those error bars. We want the actual standard error for these two sites. So we then move our cursor over to the black arrow, just to the right-hand side. Click on there. That gives us standard error, percentage, standard deviation. Oh, more options. That's the one we need. So we select our more options, and if we go right to the bottom, so we'll scroll right to the bottom of that drop-down menu, you will see custom. So I'd like you please to click that custom custom box there. And as soon as you've highlighted that, you can see we can now access specify value. So remember, when we specify the value, what it's asking for is basically asking for a positive error value and a negative error value. Now we're looking for a positive error value which goes above the mean, and a negative error value that goes below the mean. Okay, now they should be the same. So for our positive error value in our first box, what I would like you to do is go to the standard error. Okay, select the standard error for Wavebreak Island, drag it across to include Kerang Cove Marina. All right, and now we're going to do exactly the same. We'll make sure that the negative error value is the same, so we'll get rid of that equals 1, and we will, the cursor is flashing in the box, we will then select the standard error for Wavebreak Island and then that for Kerang Cove Marina. Okay. Now, when we OK this information, you will see these error bars will be customized to reflect the information that's held in that table. And there we go. So, from our previous videos that you would have watched, you can see that the range of error between these two sites does not overlap. So we can see the negative value down around here and the positive error here, they do not overlap, which would indicate that this information is really quite significant. So what we're going to do now is we might slide this, chart out of the way. We'll close this one down and we'll slide this chart over here, just so it's not in the way. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do then, I would like us now to run a t-test. Now, previously, we ran a t-test that was paired, because indeed we are in the marine environment, so it's exposed to the same. It's exposed to the same plankton, tidal cycles, etc. So they are truly paired. But when we're looking at these figures here, of course, it's very difficult to actually run a paired t-test if it's not like for like. And we've got a tremendous abundance of jingle clams at Wavebreak Island compared to Kerang Cove. So what we're going to do for this one is we're going to run a slightly different t-test. So what I'd like you to do now, please, is we'll go up to data on our top banner, find data. We'll click on the data box, and then we will run across to our data analysis. We'll click on our data analysis, which brings down our drop box for our selections. And now we'll go down to our t-test. You would remember from previous videos that we have 3 tests that we've got here. Now, we've run the t-test, which was paired, to sample for means between the two different sites. But now what we're actually looking at, we're actually going to be running a t-test for 2 samples assuming unequal variances. We have very different figures for this. They're not pair for pair. So what we're going to do is we're going to run the 2 sample assuming unequal variances. So we're going to OK that. And this will bring down our drop down. So variable range number 1, we're going to gather the information from Wavebreak Island again. So we can see that the cursor is flashing in the box. So select Wavebreak Island, include the title, drag it all the way down. There we go. So that is our selection now. So those are our range 1. Now, variable range 2, we're going to be using Kerang Cove Marina. So again, select the title so we know what we're talking about. Select the numerical values, and that is our next range. All right. Now, don't forget that we need to check the label box. Otherwise, it's not going to make head nor tail of those words that we've selected at the beginning. So they now know they're the labels. Now we need to select our output range. Okay, quickly put it into our output range. Now, our output range for this one, let's make sure that the cursor is flashing. Let's keep it nice and neat. Let's drop it into this box here. Let's keep it nice and neat. Let's drop it into this box here. All right, so E20. And then we're going to press OK. And then we've just worked out our t-test, which is 2 sample assuming unequal variances. Now, the important information that we're looking at here, as you will recall from the paired test, again, we're going to be looking at the two-tail information. Now, the two-tail information, basically, it's the p-value that's reflecting whether or not that there is a statistical difference in the values between the two sites. That's it. It's not asking if it's more, it's not asking if it's less, it's just saying there is a difference. So our two-tail test actually tells us that the p-value is 0.00161. So is that less than 0.05? Indeed it is. So it would certainly appear from the stats that we've run on the size of the Jingle Clams at Wavebreak Island compared to the size of the Jingle Clams at Kerang Cove, there is indeed a statistical difference. All right. Well, thank you for watching this video. There will be another one coming up, hopefully in the next couple of days. And in that video, what we'll be doing is we'll be running some stats on the abiotic factors. We've covered some information on the biological data. Now we're going to look at the non-biological data. So that one we'll save for next time. See you then.